Howdy Goons, we're 2 weeks exactly into the launch of the Switch 2, and we're already seeing some very interesting consumer trends. In the first week, we saw that the best-selling games weren't actually games, but instead paid upgrade patches for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that should have been free like the other upgrade patches. But thanks to a report from VGC, Video Games Chronicle, we have some interesting news that the Switch 2 may be struggling to sell third-party titles, with one publisher saying that their game has sold less than their lowest estimate. You can probably already guess why that is, but I have 9 reasons today as to why that might be. First things first, this isn't because of an underperforming Swooby. That's what I call the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is breaking all sorts of sales records for Nintendo. Despite so many people boycotting the system, even more than that actually bought the system. Even better, the vast majority aren't scalpers thanks to the precautions many retailers and Nintendo took to prevent scalping. Things like limiting systems sold and pre-orders. Second, the underperforming sales figures is being complained about by a single publisher that I can't find out who. The 2-3 articles that I read about it did not name drop the publisher. It could be Konami talking about Survival Kids, which is a remake of the original for the Game Boy game. A remake of a game that is so old that it's essentially a new IP, and new IPs have a tendency to do pretty poorly normally. It could also be Sega complaining about one of their many re-releases of old games. I can't find which publisher exactly complained about this, so it could just be total BS. By the way, if you do find out who that is, please let me know. I'll make a follow-up with a little bit more targeted information as to why that publisher may be struggling. So what possible reasons could it be that these third-party titles aren't doing well? Well, we know for sure that the Swooby sold really well. We also know that the majority of the titles sold in the US were first-party, and that's not counting the Mario Kart bundle, a whole 62%, which makes sense. When people buy a new Nintendo console, they want new Nintendo games. In the UK, almost 90% of sales were first-party titles, including the Mario Kart bundle. Reason 1, it's only the first month. It's still the first month and people just dropped $600 on a new video game console. They're not looking to spend more right now because in the US, most of us don't have enough saved to cover an accident. So $600 drained our savings, or you're financing your system like me, basically putting it on credit and paying it over time. Personally, I just bought a video game system that costs almost as much as my monthly rent. I'm lucky to live in a state with very cheap rent, but yeah, I'm not looking to drop another $60 to $80 on a video game. I'm waiting at least a month before buying another physical game. But during this time, I have bought numerous games that were on very steep sales. I'm still playing Mario Kart World. I bought Loop Hero, this is the second time, Sword of the Vagrant, Swords of Ditto, Grapple Dog, and other games for just $2. I also have a sizable library of physical Switch games that I haven't played because they ran poorly on the original system. Games like Astral Chain, Fire Emblem, Tears of the Kingdom, Disgaea, lots and lots of long RPG games. I'm set for a long while, and with updates to games like Scarlet, I'm going to revisit them. I haven't bought much third-party games because I don't have the money for them. In a couple months when I financially recover from the Swooby, I might buy new games. Reason 2, we don't need Switch 2 versions of old games. The majority of launch titles on the Swooby are all games that are Swooby versions of last gen's games. If I'm someone who owned Hitman, Sonic, Yakuza, or any of these other games on other systems, do I need to buy them a second time on the Swooby? No, definitely not. This might sound crazy to that one publisher, but I'm buying a new console to play new games. It's not like these are even remasters or feature much in the way of new content. They're quite literally the same game again. Reason 3, no one likes game key cards. One of the most annoying things to happen with gaming on the Switch original was buying a game, opening it up, and then seeing an empty cartridge slot and a little flyer with a code on it. That pissed me off. And it's really bad when you shop at Walmart. The little box telling you it's a key in a box was always covered by the shelves behind the glass cases. This happened to me when I bought Monster Hunter Stories bundle. I got the first one on a cart, and then a code for the second one. Even if I only got the second one on the card, I'd be fine with it. But this was just flipping old unsold stock. You know, a port, the first one. It's mean. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's just a mean thing to do. Now when you put a code on a cartridge, it's the same thing, but now with the added monstrosity of wasting plastic on the key. We weren't mad at codes and boxes because it was on a flyer. We were mad because you didn't give us the actual full game on a cartridge. We live in an age where like you are constantly trying to make sure we own less and less. People like Epic telling shareholders that we love spending money while getting nothing in return. You're the bad guys in this situation. We want to buy things and have them physical and own them. I want to buy a game, it be on the cartridge, in full, and it be able to sit on my shelf. Then I want to be able to play it. I want to be able to put it in my system and not have to download anything besides maybe a patch or two. No one who buys physical games likes keycards, and those of us who bought the system like physical, but we also made a silent gentleman's agreement that we wouldn't be buying these. If you want us to buy your physical games, then put your games on the chip. I'm trying to give you money. You're just making it harder for me to do that. Reason 4. These games are cheaper elsewhere. If for some reason people were okay with getting digital games or keycards, they wouldn't buy them from the current selection of available games. That's because these games for the most part have been released elsewhere already. Some like Hitman have been out for years at this point. There has been plenty of time for these games to go on sale and be played in full multiple times before this. Some gamers are surprised when I say this, but many Swooby owners also have a gaming PC or other modern console like a PS5 or an Xbox Series. I have both a PC and a Series S. If I was going to play these games, I would have already. Many of them have been on sale before coming to the Swooby, so I don't see why I would pay more for a multi-platform title right now. There are games that I have bought before that I bought on the Swooby a second time, and that was Loop Hero, because it's cheaper on the Swooby right now. Maybe take a hint from Square and release these older games for $40 instead. Even if it's a keycard, it's at least a good deal. Now Sega, do you have any idea how many chances I've had to get Yakuza 0 cheaper than the Swooby version you're selling right now? I own a PC and an Xbox Series. I bought it on PS4, and it's been on the Game Pass for years now. Reason 5. You chose not to do buyable upgrade patches. These older games that you're trying to get us to buy in full a second time might have actually sold if you gave us the option to buy upgrade patches instead. It's no coincidence that the best-selling games on the Swooby is Breath and Tears upgrade patches. If I already own your game on the previous Switch, which purchase would be more likely for me? Spend $10 on the upgrade patch to upgrade my purchase to the Switch 2 version, or buy an entirely new game for $60? I feel like some businessmen completely tuned out for basic economics in elementary school. If something is cheaper, you sell more of it. You chose not to make upgrade patches. We chose not to buy the game a second time. You made your bed, lay in it. This is super targeted at you, Sega. Normally you're pretty good about giving consumers what they want, but look at Fantasy Life. They offered $3 upgrade patches and they're doing just fine. Reason 6. You're the Wizard game. A lot of people aren't boycotting this game, of course, but it's an unspoken law with queer folks. We don't buy the Wizard game. J.K. Rowling is a transphobe and it's not news to anyone. Reason 7. Where are the ads for your games? I watch YouTube without an ad blocker. As a YouTuber with a couple monetized channels, I know that just for a few seconds of inconvenience, I can help someone eat this month. So I don't use an ad blocker. But because I don't use an ad blocker, I can see that none of you bought ad space for your Swooby games. The consumer genuinely might not be aware that your game is on the Swooby, or they don't know how your Swooby version is different from the others. I don't have a problem double dipping. I own many games on multiple platforms, and that's usually because the one released on the newer system is better in some way. For Loop Hero, it was because it was $2, why not get it? But also, it's a perfect title to play portably. I bought Switch versions of Wii U games because they ran better and were portable. If your Swooby version is better than the others, you need to inform me on how it is better. But if you didn't account for marketing in your budget, and you were expecting Nintendo to do it all for you, then you shouldn't be surprised by this outcome. Reason 8. It's launch month. The system has only been out for 2 weeks. The majority of buyers are going to be people who already buy a lot of games or are serious avid Nintendo fans. Nintendo released this system all the way here in June because they wanted to get the adult fans out of the way. That way they have 5 months to work on more shipments until the holiday buying season, which is when most kids will get their systems. That's why there isn't crap at launch either. They're selling the system to super fans right now, people who would buy it regardless, so that they have time to get it ready for the holiday season. The launch seems like a bad deal because it is. They know we'll buy it anyway. Right now the owners are hardcore game buyers, people who already own your games elsewhere. Wait until after the holiday season. The buyers then will all be first-time buyers or kids, and the kids likely don't have a system besides Nintendo's, and will get your ancient ports then because they haven't played them yet. Reason 9. It's summer. The summer season is a low sales season for everything, not just games. Well, indies do well during the summer, but people are saving up for the holidays or are still recovering from the holidays. Everyone on YouTube knows this, especially if they're monetized. Ad revenue is at its highest during fall and winter. Then around the second week of January, it all plummets because the buying season season is over. Advertisers stop getting ads, and everyone waits a few months until summer. Summer is the start of buyer season once again, because as you go through the summer, ad revenue starts to rise again. We are currently at the base of the hill on our way up. You're not making sales because it isn't fall yet. This isn't the buyer season. This was all the reasons that I could think of, but this kind of creates a perfect storm of unbuyability. Like, why would I ever buy a keycard version of a game that came out 4 years ago and is cheaper elsewhere after I just dropped $600 on a new game console? There's more reasons to not buy your game than there is to buy your game. Your sales are down because you don't know what consumers want. You played around with all those remasters and remakes and thought that we'd want that forever. Also, chill, it's only been 2 weeks. Settle down, you little freaks. Alright, I'll see y'all later. Bye. Bye 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 bye.